What is up, though, Lions fans? It's your boy, Motor Sizzle Dizzle Pizzle on the ones and twizzles for shizzle my nizzle. We back in this bizzle. You already know what it is. It's your boy, Motor City Don P. And you know when you see me, Motor City Cats, we back at it. We came to give you stats, not none of that static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. What up, though? What up, though? What up, though? I'm gonna share something with y'all. I'm gonna share something with y'all today. That is my goal. I told y'all I've been working on something. Okay, I've been diligently working on something, and it's while it's not 100%. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and debut it with you today because it's getting kind of frustrating for me. Um, Trying to develop this situation, and I'm a I'm gonna debut it for you guys today. So just stick with me. There's gonna be some kinks and some bugs to work out, and some things might not go the way that they're planned to go, but they're gonna go that way. Okay. So I just shared the stream. I just remembered to do so. So shout out to Tactical Sport before he's in, because I know he would be the one coming in, reminding me to go ahead and share the stream. So if y'all are in the chat, stop through, say what up though. Today we've got some things to get into, and the things that we got to get into today are again silly season stuff. I think that what I'm realizing, what I'm understanding, what I've understood for a very long time is that if you are a content creator, it's kind of your job. You have a responsibility to give people accurate information. And some people don't really take that responsibility under advisory when they start throwing around opinions, when they start throwing around um, things that can be misconstrued as facts. If you are a media member, if you are whatever the case may be, right? So this Jameson Williams thing.
That statement is a bit of a word puzzle. Let's break it down.
Hold
You're a
on
media
now.
member if
Hold on now. Gemini just turned itself on and then started talking to me. All right. I love you too, Gemini. Anyway, um, so if you are a content creator, if you're a media member, whatever the case may be, there's just that responsibility. Now, this Jameson Williams thing is, I talked about it yesterday. I talked about it before, but I'm touching on it a little bit more today because of that same responsibility that I came on talking about. There are people who don't read. There are people who don't source. There are people who catch tail ends of conversations, or they come in the middle of the conversation, and they may not know exactly what's going on and why it's going on, where it started and how it started. So there are some people in Lions Land that believe that um, the JMO trade rumors, speculation is like a real thing that came from the Detroit Lions. Like they believe that the Detroit Lions are actively shopping Jameson Williams. And then it doesn't help when certain, I guess we could call them influencers, also don't get the full story, or they don't, what would you say? They don't address the situation properly with enough context, right? They may just put out a tweet and then put out a video, and the tweet makes it seem like, and I'm not going to tell you specifically the person because I really when I'm criticizing a person, I try not to sling mud unless you're that guy. I don't remember his name who made the worst mock draft ever. Um, but I try to come in and be very diplomatic. So if you've done something wild that needs to be addressed and it needs to be pointed out, like my man from Michigan, from Lansing, don't remember his name, who made that terrible mock draft. I mean, it's just you making a mock draft. It's not going to end your career or anything. It's that people are not going to show up at your house. No one's doxing you or anything of that nature. It's just really in good fun because it's a mock draft. It's not a real thing, right? But so there was a person who put out a tweet, and it was a JMO appreciation video that got retweeted or whatever. And then the tweet was like, he's here until he's not. Don't let anybody tell you any different. Okay, well, the tone of that makes it seem like it is like really speculation happening, or really just like something that has legs to the trade thing. Like they're really shopping him and he's going to be traded on draft night. It's a little bit doom and gloom because the draft is coming up in what, 8-9 days, right? So because of that, I just wanted to address the situation. For those of you that do not know, I'm going to take it back to the beginning. Mike Payton is a beat writer for the Detroit Lions for A to Z Sports. He writes for A to Z Sports. He covers the Detroit Lions. He has opinion pieces. He has speculative pieces. He has analytical pieces. He does these things because he's a journalist, right? So as a journalist, he wrote an article. It was an opinion piece, and it said, do not be surprised if the Detroit Lions trade Jameson Williams on draft night. This was a piece that he wrote. He did not have sources that told him that this is going to happen. None of that. He didn't quote anyone to say, oh, the Detroit Lions are definitely trading the Jameson Williams on draft night. He didn't quote Brad Holmes as saying, hey, we're definitely looking to move on from Jameson Williams. He didn't quote Dan Campbell saying, hey, we're definitely looking to move on from Jameson Williams because we want to get out of his contract now when he costs us $5.4 million against the cap. He didn't quote any of those people because none of those people said any of those things. Okay? And people are outraged, and people are throwing out words like clickbait, and people are going into shows and they're crashing out because they don't know where it came from. So that's exactly where it came from. Okay? It came from Mike Payton writing an opinion piece. Okay? A suggestive piece. If it's his opinion that the Detroit Lions should trade Jameson Williams, fine. If it's not his opinion that they should trade him, fine. If he's just speculating, if he's just giving his opinion, that's what he does. It's the silly season, y'all. We all struggle for content right now. Okay? That's why this draft coming up is going to give us weeks of content. Because we're going to be breaking down everything that happened. What are the implications for the season? What's happening next? Who are they going to sign now that the draft is over? And do they have any more needs to fill? And what did you think about the draft? And what grades are you going to give the draft? And so on and so forth. And so much is going to come out of the draft. So we praying for times like this. Okay? Again, don't like to quote that guy. Don't like to quote that guy, but it's very accurate. Okay. Now, again, addressing the fallout. Mike Payton has been very busy on his Twitter account because he has been getting trashed, rightfully so, about the Jameson Williams situation. I think he used to write for Pride of Detroit, right? He even came out in a tweet and was like, yeah, I wrote this piece. Because he's like doubling down now. At first, it was like it was a suggestion. And he doesn't like the fact that people didn't like the suggestion. So now he's doubling down. He goes, um, the tweet was like, yeah, I wrote about this. Um, and 5 days later he was gone. So basically, like, yeah, I've been right before. Don't like come at me like I'm crazy, right? And it was TJ Hawkinson. Terrible comparison. Terrible comparison. TJ Hawkinson didn't want to be here. TJ Hawkinson wasn't drafted by Brad Holmes. TJ Hawkinson got to Minnesota and was thrilled to be in a place where they actually win for the first time ever in his career, which is what he said in his introductory press conference. TJ Hawkinson has never beat the Detroit Lions. When I saw the trade go down, I was doing my show. It was in the infancy. It was on TikTok. It was having a little bit of success on TikTok until they changed the algorithm, so I stopped using TikTok. I went from getting thousands of views to getting tens of views. Okay. The algorithm did get changed. I said when they traded TJ Hawkinson that you don't trade someone within your division if you care. Right? You don't trade someone within your division if you're afraid of them. Do you think in any reality that if Jameson Williams were to be traded, that he would be traded to one of the Bears, the Packers, or the Vikings? You have to be out of your mind if you thought that. So no, that is a bad comparison, Mike Payton. It is digging a bigger hole. That is not it. Okay, yeah, you could have been right about T.J. Hawkinson, and no one really cared. I don't. There weren't too many people outraged. I know who was. Pat McAfee show, Evan Fox, who he's the loudest Lions fan because he's the one with the biggest platform, and he was so incensed and enraged that we traded TJ Hawkinson in the division. In the division. What are we doing? He's our best player. Okay. You see how fans, you see how fans get, they overreact. They get emotional. Okay. With that, we're called fanatics for a reason. What up though? All balls, no D. TJ Hawkinson didn't want to block. He was a great pass catcher. He sucked at blocking. No block, no rock. He also fell down all the time. He also fell down all the time. Like, you ever heard of a yak king? What is the opposite? He was a yak peasant. He was a yak court jester. Like, he wasn't getting no yak. There was no yak to his game. Right? He should have changed his first initials from TJ to NY and be like, oh, NY Hawkinson. What does NY stand for? No yak. Goddamn, no yak at all. So again, TJ Hawkinson was traded within the division. He's never beaten the Detroit Lions. He plays us twice every year. Okay? He missed one game because, he got injured, and then, Kirby Joseph somehow became dirty at that point. But that is what that is. So instead of all of the trade speculation as to, why we should get rid of Jameson Williams and all these things, I did want to highlight something within this situation, if I can find it, that it brings a better light to the situation. Okay? This is an article that was written by who's that? Vito Chico. Detroit Lions on SI. Vito Chico says the Lions should give Jameson Williams a long-term extension. Shout out to you, Vito. Shout out to you, my friend. Because I agree with you wholeheartedly. The Detroit Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams emerged onto the scene in a big way a season ago. Williams, the number 12 overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, recorded a career best 58 receptions for 1,001 yards and 7 touchdowns in a career high 15 games. He also added another 61 yards and a touchdown as a ball carrier. As a result of Williams, I thought he was going to get 250 on the ground. I really did. But as a result of Williams having been a first round selection, he is eligible for a 5th-year option as part of his rookie contract. The Lions have until May 2nd to decide to pick up the option, and at this juncture, it seems like a foregone conclusion that Brad Holmes and co. will do just that for the Alabama product. The bigger question remains, should the Lions ink the 4th-year receiver to a long-term contract extension? There's no denying the fact that Williams possesses the necessary skill set to be a high-level playmaker. Yet, it is also very true that the blazing fast pass catcher has caused Detroit a variety of headaches with his actions off the field. Okay. There's a point there as well. Shout out Heavies. Shout out Woodward Sports. But there's a point there, and we'll get to that. All right. Most notably, he's been suspended multiple times for an anti-gambling violation in 2023 and a PED violation, which it was not. It was PES. Okay? PED is performance-enhancing drugs. PES is performance-enhancing substances. One of them is worse. Can you guess which one is worse? It's the PED. That's worse because that denotes cheating. Whenever you say PEDs, you automatically think cheating. When you say PES, you're like, what's that? I thought it was PED, but now it gives me pause. What is that? I don't know what that is. Okay? We never found out what it was, but it wasn't PEDs. Violation in 2024. Plus, he encountered a run-in with the police in October last year over an unregistered gun. False. Again, false. The gun was registered. He didn't have the proper concealed carry permit, but the gun was registered, making it a legal firearm. When you say the gun was unregistered, it is an illegal firearm. You get it? You get it? That's why he didn't go to prison or jail. Okay? Some people think that it was because he played for the Detroit Lions and everyone thought, oh, he was throwing around his thing, his he plays for the Lions. You know who I am? That's not how it went down at all. They released the footage, the audio. They released the audio and the video footage of the arrest, body cam footage. Wasn't like that at all. He was worried. He was panicked. He told the truth. He complied with everything. There was no arrogance. There was no bluster. There was no pounding of the chest or puffing of the chest or any of that. He didn't even say it with the chest. He was like, but I play for the Lions, though. I can't have this on my name. He was pleading with them. Come on now. Okay? Let's see, which was discovered during a traffic stop. He ultimately was not charged with the crime and will not face any discipline from the league for the matter. Okay, again, why is the league not going to discipline him? If it was a big deal, then the league would be disciplining him. The reason that we even found out about it was because someone uncovered it and started making phone calls because they wanted a story. Okay, so sometimes, again, as a member of the media, don't be a slime ball and try to bring unnecessary and undue attention to a young man who's maturing and trying to turn things around. Don't do that, but they did it anyway. So, Channel 7. On top of the issues away from the field, okay, this is a very negative toned article, but it'll get better. Williams has also battled the injury bug early on in his career. In fact, he spent the majority of his rookie campaign recovering from a torn ACL, which he suffered during the 2022 college football playoff national championship game, the ailment limited him to just 6 games as a first year pro. We knew he was injured when we drafted him. Simply said, Williams, who missed a total of 18 games in his first 3 seasons, has had trouble staying on the field to start his NFL career. If the Lions opt to not negotiate a second contract with the fourth year pro, it'll be because of the above reasons. However, I don't think that'll be the case. Ultimately, I believe that Detroit will head to the negotiating table with Williams, knowing that he is too valuable of an asset to let slip away. Okay? That is the crux of it all. He's too valuable to the team. He's too valuable to the offense. I know my man Easy had the opinion that, and shout out Easy, that's my man. Okay? So again, that's my guy. He's been on my show multiple times. He has looked me out multiple times. He's the reason that I'm on LNU. Like, that's my guy. I'm not saying anything bad about Easy. Okay? We just have differing opinions on this issue. Okay, sometimes it's sad that you got to clarify things, because then it'd be like, oh, yeah, sure. Motor City Don P was talking about you Easy. He was beefing with you. Most people in my chat are not like that, but someone could come by and watch the video afterwards and try to say some stuff. All right, but anyway, so Easy's thing is that, okay, well, the Detroit Lions offense has been successful without Jameson Williams before. Okay, that's true, but the level of success that we went to with JMO was higher. Right? Without JMO last season, y'all let me know in the chat. Without JMO last season, and with all the injuries that we had on defense, do you think we go 15-2? Do you think our top 3 offense is a top 3 offense without JMO last year? Okay, so when we were getting into shootouts with people, dealing with all of the injuries that we dealt with on defense, do you think that not having a piece like Jameson Williams would have helped our case or hindered it? That's my point. Despite his flaws, Williams has become an integral piece, or integral if you pronounce it that way, of the Lions passing game, including a bona fide home run threat for Detroit signal caller Jared Goff. Goff and Williams established a solid rapport with one another last season, with JMO garnering the second most targets from the franchise passer, 91. And I'm convinced that the chemistry between the two has a chance to grow even further this upcoming season. I also believe that in order for Goff to keep playing at a high level, keeping the Crimson Tide product is a must. As a whole, Detroit's offense would also take a sizable step back by moving on from the 24-year-old receiver. And I believe the Lions front office is far too too cognizant of that to allow it to happen. That's why I'm confident that Detroit will make the right decision and eventually extend Williams to a long-term deal. Again, kudos to you, Vito. You had some stuff in there that I didn't really agree with. I thought you was, taking some shots unnecessarily. Okay, but ultimately, I agree. Now, here again, I'll explain to you. It is the escrow situation. The salary cap is not real. But what is real is the escrow situation. Okay? If you guys aren't familiar with the escrow situation, when you offer like guaranteed money, let's say you give a person 200 million guaranteed. Well, you have to put that 200 million into an account. And it has to sit there. It's called escrow because it's guaranteed. Okay? So when you guarantee the money, you must put the money into escrow. You can't touch it. It is out of your so if you say I've got $500 million and I'm guaranteeing you $200 million, and maybe you are getting $50 million a year because it's on it's on a 4-year deal. That means that I'm on the hook for 50 million per year. No, I'm on the hook for the entire 200 million. That is the part that it starts to get a little bit sticky, a little bit dicey when you're talking about giving out these big contracts. It's not because the salary cap dictates this, that, and the third thing. It's because there's so many things that we can do to mitigate what the salary cap actually caps us from doing. Every person that has a big cap hit, is eligible for restructure. Again, I'll continue to tell you, when we traded Matthew Stafford to the Los Angeles Rams, his first year's cap hit was $1 million because they took the money that he was owed and turned it all into a signing bonus and gave it to him at once. So it was off the books. So there are so many situations like that you can do. Okay? Restructuring generally does that. It takes a large chunk of someone's money that you owe them and you give it to them right away as a signing bonus. Right? The fact that you can reclassify money should tell you that the salary cap does not indeed exist. The fact that you can reclassify money, where else do you reclassify things? Does anybody in the chat know? Right? What is it? Today's April 16th. Anybody else in the chat know where else you reclassify money? Can someone tell me? While I'm waiting for that answer, I'll read some of your comments. Salty Pork Chops, what up, though? Says, can we stop with the JMO talk? He is not going anywhere. If we keep pushing him out of the door, he will leave. He is the Jalen Carter version of the offense. No, he's not the Jalen Carter version of the offense. And that's another thing that I'm going to get to. And wasn't Adderall he took, and wasn't that supposed to have been prescribed by his doctor? That's I never 100% got the story behind it, but that was the prevailing theory. And if you look it up in public records, Jameson Williams has no public record. Case closed. Exactly. Salty. Let a Kirby walk and pay J-Mo. I don't know about all that. I don't know about letting Kirby walk. Whoa. You got too much dip on your chip now. You can hate me now, Mackenzie, but I won't stop now. Says, I keep hearing people say somebody has to go. What if Goff doesn't get us a title in the next 2 to 3 years? What up, though, Mr. Detroit City? You can hate me now, Mackenzie. I can't speak on that because whenever I speak on Goff, and if I tell any truths about Goff, people come out of the woodworks and call me Goff-phobic and call me a casual. Jared Goff could throw 10 interceptions in one game. He could stare down every single defender on the other team. He could point at them and say, hey, I'm throwing the ball your way. Are you ready? He could do that 10 times in a game, and you would still have Lions fans to tell you that it wasn't his fault. So I don't really entertain life after Goff or how to move on from Goff. The only question that I ask is, if you are trying to move on from Goff, what is your plan? Mr. Detroit City, he says what he said. All right, so the Jalen Carter thing, that was the other point about Jameson Williams. And the Jalen Carter thing was this. Jalen Carter was involved in an accident because he was racing. They left a bar or club or whatever, and one of his former teammates and a university staffer or assistant, whatever she was, who was driving the car, were racing. They got into a crash where they lost their lives. Jalen Carter left the scene. He later came back and he lied to police about his involvement in the situation where 2 people died. Jameson Williams, that's why I said he's not Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter, that's okay. We had a situation Okay. I forget the young man's name. Was it Kyron Lacey? Who recently took his own life because he was involved in a was it a negligent vehicular homicide where he was, you know, driving recklessly and someone swerved to miss him and died. Okay. And, he took his own life because I guess he felt he wasn't going to beat the case and his life was over because he was a promising NFL prospect and he was going to go to prison. He wasn't going to go to the NFL. Okay. So this is why I don't say words like Jalen Carter and J-Mo. They're not in that same realm. Okay. A realm where people are losing lives. Okay. That is a realm with Jalen Carter where 4 people lost lives. Jalen Carter did not particularly cause the deaths of the 2 people. They were drunk and they were racing. Okay. And then in the same realm, Kyron Lacey lost his life himself. He took it after causing another human being to lose life. So, no, J-Mo is not the Jalen Carter of the offense. J-Mo has, if you even want to call the gambling suspension a silly mistake or whatever, when you log into an online casino on your phone and you're at a team hotel, I'm pretty sure nobody stressed this. Okay, I'm pretty sure no one stressed that this was because you're thinking when someone tells you, well, don't gamble on sports. Okay, he's an online casino. He's playing blackjack. I don't gamble, right? I understand the dangers of gambling, but the man was playing blackjack or pachinko or whatever, or doing the slot machine on his phone. It's not the same thing as Jalen Carter or Kyron Lacey. It's not. Said golf writers hate to hear the truth that Stafford was, is, and always will be a better QB than Goff. I'm also not a Stafford fan. Stafford in Detroit won us absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. So I'm not a Stafford fan. I wasn't happy when he went to LA and won a championship. I was hoping that he'd never won anything, just like when he was in Detroit. That was my hope. Stafford, I probably have a couple grays on my head watching Stafford throw pick sixes at the end of games in Detroit. Okay, not to say he's not a good. He was a better quarterback when he left Detroit. I wish he would have been that guy in Detroit. No empathy for reckless driving, period. I don't drink and I don't judge. I leave that for God. I pray those who have not established a relationship are found by his grace. J-Mo was a young kid making young kid mistakes with a hell of a knot in his pocket. He hasn't done anything any of us haven't done. Right. So this is what I'm saying. Like the J-Mo situation, we can't attach it to people who are high profile bad guys or people who have had high profile incidents, right? And Mr. Detroit, I was not empathizing. I'm just saying these are the consequences of what was happening with Jalen Carter and Kyron Lacey. Okay. Agree or disagree, the fact of the matter is people lost lives in these situations. No one lost anything in the J-Mo situation. J-Mo lost some game checks. That's it. Right? There's the Ray Rices. Everybody wants to talk about Ray Lewis and they want to convict him of murder. When again, whatever, we're not here to litigate the case, but it whatever happened. Okay. OJ did it, all that, but none of this pertains to J-Mo. J-Mo is not at any of these things. So we shouldn't even mention that. That's my point. We shouldn't mention him in the same breath as any of these guys. Um, it's taking JMO a little time to acclimate himself to the NFL and the stardom, and that eyes are on them all the time. The people really realize where he comes from. Um, and that's part of the argument as well. The where he comes from part. That's part of some of the hand wringing about JMO. There's segments, and that's all I'll say. Um, Henry Ruggs is a murderer. Many people make mistakes. I just pray for us all. Um, yeah, I mean, I I don't throw around the term murder. To be a murderer, I think you have to have intent to murder. I'm not excusing anything that Henry Ruggs did, and Henry Ruggs rightfully should be in prison because his actions were negligent and he took the life of someone else, right? So whenever you act in a negligent manner or if you act in a purposeful manner and it results in you taking the life of someone else, you should pay the highest consequences, right? Now, if it was a complete accident out of no control of your own, right? Like let's say this Kyron Lacey thing, right? Let's say okay, Kyron Lacey is driving recklessly and you have to swerve to miss him and then you hit a pedestrian and kill that pedestrian. Are you a murderer? No. Were you acting negligently? No. You were trying to avoid someone else who was acting negligently. So that's why I'm saying like I don't throw around the term. I think there has to be intent. Um yeah, JMO had nothing growing up. He was raised in the projects, roaches and rats, sofas out back, or smokers out back, selling his mama sofa. I'm not, if you know, you know, use the hashtag. um, so that's what I got. All right. Um, are y'all ready for the debut? I know the conversation has gotten a little bit heavy. Are you ready for the debut? Um, as I said, I've been working on something, and I want to share it with y'all. So if y'all will permit me a little bit of time, hold on, let me be sure. Okay. All right. So I have been working on something. I will be making it available to the public. I do have to make sure that it is fixed 100%. It is ready to go. Um and I've been working on it for quite some time. So, I would like to introduce to you something that has been near and dear to me, something that I've been dealing with for quite some time. And I don't even know if here it is. This is my very own mock draft simulator. Okay? Um I didn't let anybody know. Some people know. The majority of people do not know that I was working on this. Um, I want it to be available before the draft. That means I still got oh some days left. Okay, I got some days left. But hopefully it'll be available before then. Um, it will most likely be subscription based, and the reason why is because it costs me money to develop it. It is not something that I did for free. Um, so yes, but the subscribers will have once I'm sure that it's working 100%. Once I'm sure it's not going to crash. Once I'm sure that there's no more bugs that are going to crop out. crop up, the subscribers will definitely be getting a discount for the subscription. What up, though, Jonathan Lord? All right. So I think y'all can see this now. Yes, it's up on the screen. Okay. So we're gonna test this out. So what happens? You go into the simulator, and I haven't even, like I said, I'm testing it, so I haven't given it the proper names yet or nothing. So we're gonna create a new draft. And I have so many draft rooms that I've created because, again, as I said, I've been working on this for quite some time. So here you have your draft room. So you're going to create a new draft room, and this will be the kicker to this is you will be able to draft with your friends or your colleagues, your family, whatever. Okay, you will be able to create draft rooms and bring them in. Okay, and draft with them. I got this idea because y'all know that I want to do the big 32 team draft with everybody in my chat. Okay, so we started looking for things, and there was nothing really viable out there that I could find that allowed us all to be able to do that. So I was like, what if I just create my own? That is the impetus of the idea. That's how the idea started. So yes, you got the number of participants. So you got all, the full 32. You got the four from 4 to 32. Okay. You have the draft type. Standard, I don't use the snake draft because that's not how the NFL drafts. So we got time for the pick. You can set the timer up to 3 minutes, no time at all, down to 30 seconds. And here's the kicker, right? For my application, I have a hardcore option. The hardcore is for those of you who are like hardcore armchair GMs. Y'all really get into everything about the draft. You get into the mock draft, y'all got the charts, y'all got your big boards, y'all got everything. So for you guys, I have a hardcore, which is 7 rounds plus UDFA signing. Because we have over 600 prospects in the database for this year's draft. And ain't 600 picks, right? There's 257. So there's going to be a lot of people left over. And for those of you that have done all of the work, even down to the UDFAs, the people that you don't think are going to get drafted, you still did work on those guys. You're an armchair GM. You're an armchair scout. You went out there and you worked on, you found all of the tape that you could find on even these most obscure players. And some of y'all might have even went to the regional combines and scouted them yourself. Okay? Those guys are going to be available and they're going to be undrafted. And there is a period which, if the logic of the app works properly, that you'll be able to offer players contracts. And they'll be able to accept them or not accept them. And then you should be able to see which team they sign with from the AI control teams and the other user control teams and things like this. It's pretty immersive. That's why I call it hardcore. I generally just like to go with the 3 rounds, just speed it up. You can enable a UDFA signing period after your 3 rounds as well, or after your 1 round, but that doesn't make sense, because they're not going to be UDFAs. If you're going to do all that, you might as well just do the hardcore. Okay. So we're going to create the draft. Oh, okay. Not logged in. Let me log out and let me log back in. Okay. All right. So we're going to create the draft. Um, okay, 30 seconds on the clock. Um, Now there is a skip pick feature, and in the skip pick feature, I was having some issues. It was kind of like breaking, um, because the skip pick feature um is controlled by the person who created the draft. So it's kind of breaking things and like unassigning teams and things like that. So that's why I just go ahead and take the 30 seconds for the clock. So if you'll see. Um, the trade, like I haven't tested out the trade logic. I was doing all that last night, and then some things got broken, so I haven't had an opportunity to test the trade logic. But the trade logic is pretty uh is pretty intense. Okay, so you're not just going to be able to offer an AI controlled team a 6 round pick and a pack of bubble gum for their number 2 overall pick. That's not gonna happen. They're not going to do it. All right, so we're gonna create the draft. Draft has been created. All right. So here you have your draft order. You got your draft board. All these things. You've got your prospects. So down here you can see you got your Cam Ward, Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter, Shador Sanders. Okay, and all these. The list goes on and on. All these prospects. Now here's a cool thing that I have put in here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, okay? But you see this, it says highlights, right? So if you're about to draft a player and you want to quickly look at something, you can pop up his highlights. Um, okay. And then I don't know if y'all can still see it. Let me see. Did it switch? Or it's probably not switching because it's a different window. But what happens? Oh no, it is there. Okay. That was it. Okay. So you hit the highlights and then you get your YouTube highlights populating. So let me see. And that's for pretty much all the prospects. I mean, if you go way down here to, let's see, who is this? Jalen Travis. Jalen Travis has YouTube highlights. There you go. Okay. So you can sit really and, you know, while you're waiting for someone to make a pick or whatever, you could be looking at highlights of players who you think are going to be available, trying to formulate your picks, especially if you were picking for the Detroit Lions in your draft and you'd pick number 28. But you probably already got who has the top guys. You've probably seen their highlights or whatever, but it's just an extra feature. All right. So now let's see if this logic is working. So we are going to go through and we're going to select our NFL team. Okay. Of course, we're going to choose the Detroit Lions. Okay. So you got your picks populated already. It's got the team needs. Now, I don't know what happened to the team needs logic because obviously it's got running back, quarterback, and wide receiver highlighted. And it should be highlighting edge, and you know what I mean. So we gotta get back to that. Let's see if it has fixed the assigning of AI teams. Um, yes. Okay. So now you have the Tennessee Titans are on the clock. Um, there's a fallback option. Some of the logos did not populate, so there's an SVG fallback option, which will just show you the team colors with CLE in it and stuff like this. All right, let's start the draft. Okay. So again, so with the current pick, it's talking about the New York Giants, which is not true at all. Okay. Um, So there's a thing that I have to fix where it unpopulates the user team. So I have to fix that. Um, but I'll be working on this pretty diligently, throughout the day and over the weekend and stuff. All right, pick number one, Shador Sanders. All right, let's continue the draft. Okay. Am I frozen here? Yes, my page froze. That has never happened. Especially not on the first pick. No comments. What y'all got to say, man? Let's see what is going on here. All right, let's not exit it. Let's just reload it and see what happens. Let's just go to an active one. Okay, this is an active one. Okay, so now it's got the proper team that should be picking. So we've got our toggle: fast, medium, normal, slow. So let's go fast and see what happens. I think we might have had to do the toggle before. Yeah. So if we skip the pick, let's see what happens. Skip pick. All right. Oh, it's not even doing anything down here. The timer's not running. Yeah. So it's got a WebSocket issue again that I've gotta fix. So we'll just see what happens here. Okay, there you go. So then over here you see some strengths and weaknesses. You got one strength, one weakness. So it says athletic, prospect, raw talent. Okay, obviously the athletic prospect is what you really like. That's his top, his top upside, and he's a raw talent, which is his top low downside. Okay. All right, Cleveland Browns. Let's see. Yeah, so there's some WebSocket issues going on there, but that's why we have to, it keeps hanging up. But we'll get it fixed. So what did y'all think? What do y'all think of that? Do you like the layout? Like, what's good about it? What's not good about it? Let me know in the chat what you guys are thinking about it. I know it's we had some hiccups off the bat, but I think it's promising. Now again, the it's gotta there's some things that gotta get fixed, but it's worked quite well before. So whenever you're doing any type of software or any type of app, sometimes when you fix one thing, another thing breaks. So we just got to continue hacking away. It's very close. I added a bunch of stuff last night. Like I said, I added I just went on and added everything in there. Added the clock for speeding it up, the toggle for the speed, the trade logic, everything. I added all of that stuff last night. So it was a lot that I put in there, and the app crashed quite a few times. Um, I had to kind of resuscitate it earlier today so that I could actually get it up there on the screen. But um, let me know, man. Let me know if you guys are interested in getting in on that. Like I said, I hope to have some creators on like Easy and Spinmo and even Derek to come on and test it out once I get the functionality working, and it's good content leading up to the draft because we can sit there and we can do our live mock drafts on air, and then hopefully I'll be able to release it to the people before the draft. It's just got to work. I'm not gonna charge a subscription for something that's not working. Um, and if I'm deploying it, I'm still also paying for it. You know what I mean? So that's the thing. If I deploy it, there's still it has to be paid for. So that's part of what the subscription is. It's not going to be deployed on a free platform. Um, Later on, I can optimize it for Google Play and for iOS and all those things. But right now, it's a web app. So where this web app is hosted, you got to pay for the hosting. You got to pay for the usage. So that is what that is. Let me know, man, in the chat what y'all think about it. Is it exciting? Is it something that you would be interested in? Is it something that are you a mock drafter? Uh, all these things. Let me know. What is going on here? But anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and head on out because I do have to get my day started. I kind of had a sleep in today. Sometimes the body takes what the body needs, you know, and my body needed that sleep. Mr. Morale 313, where you at? Where you been, my guy? You haven't seen all the speculation. Um, Yeah, the speculation it was started. I'll just give you the Cliff Notes version. Mike Payton wrote an article about don't be surprised if the Detroit Lions trade Jameson Williams on draft night, and it created this whole stir. But it's an opinion piece. So a lot of people, creators are reacting to it, and there are a lot of the fans who thought it was something real, like that there was concrete evidence and proof that JMO was being traded. A lot of people thought that he was actually like actively being shopped, and they're making deals with people on draft night already, and all this other stuff. So that's pretty much what it was. um, but everybody dropped out because I did say I was gonna head out. Um, oh, it's your son's baseball season. Okay. Okay, I got you. I got you. Well, check out what you can check out, man. I debuted something. Um, go back about 10, 15 minutes. And you'll see what it is. Comment on the video or hit us up in the Discord and let us know what you think about it. But once again, everybody, the Motor City Cats are back at it. Came to give you stats, not static. Whatever you do, make sure you keep your Lions news pragmatic. And if you hear somebody using the term the silly season and it don't look like me, don't let them do it. Don't let them get away with it. All right, we are out. Peace.